Hello, everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from the Associated Press published April 12th, written by Jill Colvin and Colleen Long. Trump is strongly looking at releasing migrants in Dem cities. Well, technically Dem cities. He said sanctuary cities, which just happen to be Democrat cities. And to me, they want these people coming here, then they should be able to and want to house these people, take care of these people, give them all the free shit that they offer the ones that are already there. But see, they really don't want that. And like the typical Democrats that they are, living in their little fenced communities, they want the rest of America to deal with what they want, as opposed to them dealing with what they're calling for. It really comes down to that. President Donald Trump said Friday he is strongly considering releasing illegal immigrants into I love how, before we go any further, illegal immigrants in quotes. You mean illegal aliens? You mean illegals? Illegal immigrants. I love that. They are illegal immigrants. They are illegals. And I wouldn't even call them immigrants because to immigrate, you have to come legally. They are illegal aliens. So let's do the sentence correctly. President Donald Trump said Friday he's strongly considering releasing illegal aliens into Democratic strongholds to punish congressional foes for inaction on the border, just hours after the White House and Homeland Security officials insisted the idea had been rejected as fast as it had been proposed. Now, not exactly what's going on here. What he is saying is, this is a complete misrepresentation. What he basically got to is they want them. They're the ones who say, hey, you know, come here, we'll protect you and all that. They don't want to cooperate with immigration law. Well, then they should just deal with, you know, the idea of, hey, you created the situation, so sow what you reap. And I have no problems with that. I have absolutely no problems with that. Due to the fact Democrats are unwilling to change our very dangerous immigration laws, we are indeed, as reported, giving strong consideration to placing illegal immigrants in sanctuary cities only, Trump tweeted. He added that the radical left always seems to have an open borders, open arms policy, so this should make them very happy. And what I love is what was it, the San Francisco Chronicle? They were trying to say, oh, you know, far left, because he added that was not the intent of it. And the thing, like they took it out of context, made it like, oh, he's doing this for the far left. You know, it was really bad. And the thing is I love how they're saying that to target them for their, you know, target congressional foes, like type thing, to punish them. It's not. Seeing they don't want to change the laws, they want these people, they're betting on these people being their base to keep their party alive because they've given up on the middle class and the working class and you know the blue collar would be more accurate, but they've given up on the middle class, the blue collar workers, the people that kept the party going for all these decades, and now have embraced this idea of we're going to go for illegals and their anchor babies, because illegals, they might become citizens and vote, but not likely. They're going to vote anyways because a lot of them do. And the idea, and then they're making it easier for them to do that. Oh, we'll allow illegals to vote in our local elections. So because they hold local elections at the same time of federal elections, they can just hand them one ballot. And you don't think they're not going to vote for president? Bullshit. But they're counting on the illegal vote and their anchor babies to vote for them. That's their new base. If they want that, then they should deal with the consequences of it. They want to be a sanctuary city for these people, then they should get every last one of them. Really is that cut and dry. The reversal, which appeared to catch officials at Department of Homeland Security off guard, came as critics were blasting Trump for the supposedly rejected idea, accusing him of turning migrants into pawns to go after his political opponents. That's not what he's doing. You want them in this country. Large sections of this country do not want them in want illegals to be coming into their communities. They want legal immigrants to come into their communities, not people who just show up and go, gimme, gimme, gimme. I want to come over. I should get food stamps and I should get Section 8 housing assistance. I want. Gimme, gimme, gimme. And are literally a tax net negative for us. They don't want that in their communities. The ones that do, let's send them there. It's really that simple. If they're saying we're going to be a sanctuary city, we're going to give you free shit, we're going to do this, that, and the other thing, then We should just send them there. It's ridiculous. They're not pawns. He's not turning them into them, at least. It's the Democrats who are. They're the ones going, oh, but we should do what's emotionally right, what feels good emotionally. What the hell with what's best for our country. They're the ones who are using them as pawns. It comes as Trump has grown increasingly exasperated by a surge of Central American migrant families crossing the southern border and is looking for new ways to pressure congressional Democrats to change laws that he insists are making the problem worse. Because they are. When you literally have this chain migration, anchor baby bullshit going on, it makes the problem worse. Because you have women who are literally about to pop out a kid coming from Central America so that they can pop out the kid across the U.S. border. That's a problem. And you know what might help if we actually enforce the laws on the books as written. You know, you get busted in this country being an illegal, you get arrested. Used to be, you do not pass go, you do not collect $200, you go directly to jail and then get on an airplane and sent back to your country of origin. I want to go back to those days. I mean, this is ridiculous. Indeed, last week, Trump urged his soon-to-be acting Homeland Security Secretary, Kevin McAllen, to seal the southern border and told McAllen, I'm butchering his name, he would pardon him if he were to find himself in trouble for blocking legal asylum seekers, according to two people familiar with the conversation who spoke on condition of anonymity to describe a private exchange. Oh, I love this one. More anonymous fucking sources. The only way the legacy media can survive these days and push the bullshit that they are is by anonymous sources. And it used to be you only used anonymous sources when you could find information that actually backed it up. Now they just throw anonymous sources around. Like, it's ridiculous. It's not like that's supposed to mean something. Same anonymous sources that, probably said, oh, Russian hooker's pissing on a bed while he ran into the bathroom and said, I hate black people. Considering it's Trump, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same friggin' anonymous sources. It was not clear whether the president was joking, and a Homeland Security spokesman said in a statement, at no time has the president indicated, asked, directed, or pressured the acting secretary to do anything illegal. The reported conversation came during the president's trip last week to Calexico, California, a day after he announced he was delaying his threat to close the border because Mexico appeared to be stepping up its enforcement efforts. So he gets Mexico to step up their enforcement efforts, says, I'm not going to close the border. I'm not going to close the border yet. You're trying to play it like he does not have the power to close the border and declare, after declaring a national emergency on the note of these illegals just trying to fucking run the border. When they're literally releasing thousands of them a day because they don't have the space to keep these people because they're just fucking showing up, knowing that they're going to get revolving doored. Because we're full up. This is ridiculous. Before Trump's tweets on Friday, both the Department of Homeland Security and a White House official had insisted in nearly identical statements that the Sanctuary Cities plan had been floated but then flatly rejected. Yeah, well, there's a slight problem. He's the commander-in-chief. If he tells the heads of the departments to do it, and they tell those people to do it, they got to do it. And I don't see anything illegal or wrong with this. Because the Obama administration, people have to think back. What did they do with illegals? They secreted them into conservative areas of the country and kept it quiet. And when the people found out and said, we don't want this here, Obama was basically, and his administration were like, oh, fuck you. We don't care what you want. So how is this any different? If Obama can do that, Trump can sure as shit send them all to sanctuary cities like L.A. and San Francisco and Lawrence, Massachusetts and Boston, well, hell, all of Massachusetts these days is a fucking sanctuary, but Boston and any other sanctuary city across the country. Hell, Lawrence, Massachusetts is a shithole. It was the first sanctuary city, and you know what? The second it became one, and this was like the test bed for it. It was before California or anywhere else. There were signs, okay, in Caribbean countries and Central and South American countries and in Mexico. There were billboards and signs. They had them at airports saying, go to Lawrence, Massachusetts and collect free shit. I mean, it didn't say collect free shit, but that was the gist of it. And you know what happened to that city? Even when the mills closed in that city, the manufacturing went down. It was still a nice, clean, safe city. Turned it into a sanctuary city, it became a shithole. Most people in New England know this. Well, not most, but a large number of people know this about Lawrence, Massachusetts. That's a sanctuary city in action. You want to see what a shithole becomes? What a nice city becomes when it becomes a sanctuary city? Because that's the first one. Go look up Lawrence, Massachusetts. I kid you not. That's what a sanctuary city will become. A complete and total fucking shithole. I say send them. When their cities turn to shit, what are they going to say? They have no defense at that point. None whatsoever. I mean, but they're going to be like, no, don't send them here. Because, see, these are the same Democrats that live behind the walls of gated communities and walls around their homes and do not remotely live on any level equal to their constituents. These are people who look down their noses at their constituents and say, oh, well, you just got to deal with this because we want it. They want these illegals in this country? Why doesn't Pelosi open up her gated home? Mad Maxine open up her gated home? Let them in. I'm sure they have spare bedrooms. Anyway, but not apparently by the president, who emphatically revived the idea. See, because they went and said, oh, we're not going to do this. And the president went, oh, fuck you. I'm going to call it out publicly. So you can't tell me no. See, these deep state shitbags, they try to say, well, we're not going to do it. And then I love Trump because he goes out and calls them out publicly for it. And they go, well, that's not presidential. What? You tell someone to do something and they go, well, we're not going to do it? And it's their job to follow a legal order from the commander-in-chief? Asked about it by reporters, he said he was strongly looking at releasing migrant families into those communities. They're always saying they have open arms. Let's see if they have open arms, he said. Yeah, exactly. You notice that the Democrats, they want all these people to come in, but they don't want them coming to their cities that they represent? I wonder why. There were no indications, however, that officials were taking any steps to move forward with the idea or considered the president's words anything more than bluster. Sanctuary cities are places where local authorities do not cooperate with immigration and customs enforcement officials, denying information or resources that would help ICE round up for deportation people living in the country illegally. So they're breaking the law, and these governments openly break the law, not cooperating with the federal government, not providing information that, when these states became part of the union, they agreed to share, to when it came to law enforcement, to share, to follow the law, exchange, basically when it came to legal, say, requests for information, they would comply. They don't want to, though. So they include New York and San Francisco, home city of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who on Friday called the idea unworthy of the presidency of the United States and disrespectful of the challenges we face as a country, as people, to address who we are, a nation of immigrants. See, not in my district. She wants them all to be just fucking flooded across the border, but not into her fucking district. You gotta love that shit. It's fucking hilarious. Rep. Bernie Thompson of Mississippi, who chairs the House Homeland Security Committee, said, "It serves as a reminder that the Trump administration's reckless immigration agenda is not about keeping the country safe, but about partisan politics and wantonly inflicting cruelty." Wait a minute. You are the people that are saying that these people are law-abiding citizens, that they commit less crimes by grouping legitimate, legal immigrants in with them than native-born Americans. So how is this a question of safety? Are you saying that these people are criminals? Because by you saying that this isn't about safety, and you're saying this will put people at risk through that implication, you're saying that these people are that there are criminals coming across the border. Which is it? They're good, law-abiding people, or they're criminals? Oh wait, you only want to be able to flip-flop that and use it whichever way you can when it benefits you. And how is it inflicting cruelty by sending them to a place where they're going to get a bunch of free shit? LA, they show up, they get food stamps, they get free lunches for their kids, they get all this free shit. San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, all sanctuary cities. They all get free fucking shit there handed out to them. Boston, Lawrence, same freaking deal. They're going to get more shit if they're sent to these sanctuary cities than if they were sent anywhere else in the country. Sounds like to me that would be a benefit to them. By their logic, at least. Oh my God. This is funny. The idea of pressing immigration authorities to embrace the plan was discussed in November and then again in February as the Trump administration struggled with a surge of migrants at the border, according to 3 people who spoke on condition of anonymity to outline private conversations. You know what's funny? They bring up more anonymous sources. And we're supposed to just take, what they're saying at face value and just trust it. The same anonymous sources that said, this was going to happen with Trump Jr. or this was going to happen with Kushner. This is what was going on in the Trump administration. Like when he was, supposedly losing his mind or mentally unstable or whatever narrative they were pushing. None of their anonymous sources have proved to be remotely credible. Homeland Security and ICE lawyers quickly rejected the proposal. According to the people, on the grounds it was complicated, too expensive, and a misuse of funds, 2 of the people said. Wait a minute. How was it complicated? You literally pile them on buses at the border and bring them to, say, LA or San Fran. All right? You throw them on planes. You send them into fucking Logan and go, okay, here you are. Welcome to Boston. Here's some money in your pocket. Get the fuck out. Here's where you go collect your free shit. Have fun. That's pretty friggin' simple. Use a value airline. If you really want to get off cheap. Book a value airline for all of them. You have someone fly with them, make sure they get off at Logan. Something like that. And how is that a misuse of funds? Sanctuary cities want them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be sanctuary cities. The plan, which was first reported by the Washington Post, is one of a litany of ideas being tossed around by an increasingly anxious White House in recent months. Officials say they are running out of options and have proposed and recycled numerous ideas that have never come to fruition. Trump, in recent weeks, for instance, has discussed the idea of renewing his administration's controversial family separation policy, even as he's publicly declared he won't do that, and has threatened to completely seal the border despite opposition from many in his administration. Now, the thing is, I love how they keep pinning this whole separation of family shit on Trump. This actually happened years and years ago. What was it? During the Clinton administration? They had a fucking court case that said, you cannot do this. You have to separate these children. Okay. I'm getting it wrong. But it's been going on since the Clinton administration, I mean. All right. At least since the Clinton administration. And the idea is you have to prove that these kids are the kids of these people, because there have been a lot of cases where people bringing children across the border are not a parent or a relative of these children. And they're smuggling them, for, say, sexploitation or whatever else vile and disgusting things that these people are doing with these kids. Sex slavery, whatever. Or they're using them to cross the border and then they end up killing them and shit. That's happened. So, heaven forbid you want to make sure that the person who has a child in their custody is actually someone who should have custody of that child. And this idea of sealing the border and they're against it, we need to seal the border at this point. Because that'll send a message. He has the power to do it. Southern border is a national fucking emergency. When you have thousands of people that are literally coming across and getting flipped around each day, 1,700 one day, 1,500, 1,800. I mean, when you have that kind of people coming across the border, it's a state of emergency. There have been at least two versions of the sanctuary city plan discussed. One to move people who have already been detained to places with Democratic opponents of the president. The other to transport migrants apprehended at the border directly to San Francisco, New York City, Chicago, and other spots. Now, I love this one. It just so happens that these sanctuary cities have Democrats that are in Congress, Democrats that are Trump deranged. So he's supposedly targeting them because he's decided to send people to these sanctuary cities. By being sanctuary cities, they're saying, we want you. That's some twisted freaking logic there. ICE arrests people in the U.S. illegally and also manages migrants who present themselves at border crossings and ask for asylum. The surge of migrant families at the border has been taxing the system, and ICE says it no longer has the resources to handle immigrants processed at the border patrol. As a result, more than 125,000 people have been released as they await court hearings, a practice Trump has derided as catch and release, because it is literally catch and release. And at this point, they don't even have enough ankle bracelets to tag these people. So they're just letting them go with no ankle bracelets, no way to track them. Hey, welcome to America. You made it through. Don't report to court. Who gives a shit? That's the mentality that they have. With immigrant processing and holding centers overwhelmed, the administration has already been busing people hundreds of miles inland and releasing them at Greyhound stations and churches in cities such as Albuquerque, San Antonio, and Phoenix. Transporting large groups of immigrants to distant cities would be even more expensive for an agency already strapped for cash. Flights chartered by ICE cost about $7,785 per flight hour, according to the agency, and require multiple staffers, including an in-flight medical professional. The agency also uses commercial flights, but requires that migrants pay for those. Well, you know what? This is what's funny. They're trying to play the money game. $10 billion, $20 billion to put a wall. We'll give $30 billion for a wall. It costs $110 billion for these people each year for the federal government. We've just made money there, number one. Number two, we wouldn't have to worry about paying $77.85 an hour for a flight. And if you fill a plane at the border and it's a 5-hour flight, and let's say it's got 200 seats, to me, I can live with that cost. It's less than $40,000 to fly them all into Boston from, say, the border, the southern border of California or Texas. I'm fine with that. I'm real fine with that. Watch Boston turn into, besides like the nice areas becoming shithole, the whole city. Just like Lawrence. I would love to see Boston turn into Lawrence. I'm a masochist on that note, I guess. I just want to see it happen. Because Lawrence is the poster child for what happens to a sanctuary city, being the very first, the prototype for it. At the same time, many sanctuary communities would likely welcome the immigrants in question. Some of these cities have robust networks of nonprofit legal groups that could help them strengthen their legal cases to stay. Yeah, not exactly, but all right. The Department of Health and Human Services said this week it had started scouting vacant properties that could be turned into facilities for holding migrant children in several cities, including Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, Phoenix, and San Antonio. To me, solve the problem. Just send them to a sanctuary city. Let them deal with it. Let LA, let San Fran, let, Seattle and Portland and Boston and New York City. Let them deal with the issue. They want these people to come across the border. Their mayors and governors in those communities, in those states are saying, what Trump is doing is wrong. Well, then, okay, we'll just send them to you. You want them, obviously, when you're saying that, so works for us. Those facilities would be licensed by each state and likely take several months to be approved and opened, separating them from the rapidly expanding emergency shelter at Homestead, Florida, and the now closeted tent facility at Tornillo, Texas. The Defense Department has also been reviewing a number of military bases to find a location that can house up to 5,000 unaccompanied migrant children as the U.S. braces for a surge of people crossing the U.S.-Mexico border this spring. Yes, exactly. The winter was nothing. What happened over the end of last year and into this year was nothing. The nicer weather, we're going to see a shit ton more people. Under the Trump administration, ICE has significantly stepped up arrests, including of people who have no U.S. criminal records. What? Excuse me. If you cross into the United States illegally or overstay a visa illegally, you are committing a crime. Let's leave out that fucking fact, though. You are literally committing a crime. One that you can be arrested for and deported. I love how they leave that out. In response, some cities have banished ICE from the jails where agents could easily pick up immigration violators. Police what's funny is they're letting people out. These people ended up in fucking jail for committing an actual fucking crime. That's another thing. They just literally said that some of these cities have banished the ICE members of ICE from these jails. You end up in jail because you committed a fucking crime. How retarded are these people that write this shit for AP? If you're in jail, you committed a crime. The fact that there's someone there to catch these criminals going through the system and then deport their asses would make sense at that point. Police in New York, Baltimore, and Seattle rarely, if ever, disclose information about when suspected criminals in the U.S. illegally will be released from custody. Which is bullshit. There should be laws against that. Democrats have said they will tackle immigration bills, possibly as soon as they return from their spring recess, and Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell has indicated an interest. Basically, they could have had an extension on DACA and all this other shit, and this wouldn't be an issue right now, if they had literally just worked with Trump when the shutdown was happening. I mean, this is such bullshit that they're trying to play this how they are. Well, look at Trump. He's trying to target the people who oppose him by literally saying, I'm going to send these people to sanctuary cities. It isn't his fault that these sanctuary cities are where people like Pelosi represent, populations in this country. I mean, come on now. If Mad Maxine and Pelosi and others where these sanctuary cities are, saying that they should be sanctuary cities and that they're going to make sure that these people are protected within their quote-unquote jurisdiction, if they're going to do that, then the theory is that they want these people there. He's just trying to help that along. I don't see a problem with that. I'm good with it. After seeing what happened in Lawrence, Massachusetts, I want it to happen. Because Lawrence, Massachusetts, and Lowell, Massachusetts, to an extent, it happened there. They were called the Twin Cities. These were cities that had, even though they had a working class population, there was some culture there. There was a pride in it. These were really nice cities. Okay? They weren't like run down fucking shitholes. But because of illegal immigration, Lawrence, sanctuary city numero uno. Complete and total shithole. To me, when you have that being the case, I want to see this happen in other places around the country. So I can laugh at whatever excuse they come up with. You know, it's funny how they want to act like, hey, we want these people here. But then when Trump's like, well, we'll send them to you. No, we don't want them. That's funny. It's just hypocrisy at its finest. But anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.